You are down with.
Yo, Dave.
What up?
Drop the beat.
We like it old school. You know how we do this.
What you listening to?
The brothers from the 818.
91331.
Pacoima, California.
What's up, Dave?
What's up, Caleb?
The real, the raw, the relevant.
No script.
We invite you into our conversation. What's going on, people?
Let me just say this.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
You are down with.
The brothers from the 818.
What's going on, people? You are back with the brothers from the 818. My name is Dave, as you know, kicking it as always with my man Caleb. Caleb, you out there? What's going on with you?
I'm here, man. I am here with you again, doing this podcast, pushing towards 10 years. We're gonna push it 10 years or more. I don't know. We're gonna keep pushing it until we decide not to push it anymore. It's good, man. I'm gonna go ahead and check in. That's all right with you.
Do that.
It's been a rough week. Tired. It's a rough day, but rewarding because I'm persevering, man. I'm when it gets rough and I'm come on out of it, I feel like I'm better for it.
Right.
I love a little adversity. So I'm celebrating that. I got a funny story. My morning was kind of challenging. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna have me some comfort food. And I went to Tommy's Burgers. I don't know the last time you went to Tommy Burger with all the chili on it and everything, but Tommy's is not a very healthy meal. And Tommy's will often have me running to the restroom or clog up my system, right? And so when I brought the food home, this is what made me chuckle. It made me thinking maybe I'd share it tonight. I started to pray, right? Like most people pray over food, right? And my prayer over food is real simple, Dear God, thank you for this meal. Let it be nourishing and nutritious. I was like, I don't even want to ask God for that because it's none of that, right? It's not nourishing or nutritious, right? It is Tommy's Burger. It is comfort food. So anyways, man, that's my check-in. What's going on with you?
Man, I don't even know now. I'm laughing about you and Tommy's, man. You hit the nail on the head. The time before last I had Tommy's, I was in the bathroom all night, and
Right.
The next time I said, hey, I'm gonna do it again. And that was just dumb. I mean, I knew what was gonna happen. And so my I won't say it's not metabolism, my makeup won't allow me to enjoy Tommy's. But it was nothing about that pickle flavor in the chili. But when I think about Tommy's, I love chili, man. I just do. But I asked myself, would you ever eat a spoonful of Tommy's chili without the burger? And the answer is probably nah, you wouldn't. So I'm cool with not putting it on the burger either. So great story, man. I'm glad we can start with a chuckle. Like you, man, it's a busy time and it's a busy week, it's a busy day. Some mornings I get up like, okay, what day is it? All right, I got this. Let's keep going and so forth. But life is good, man. I'm not in any position I didn't put myself in voluntarily and wouldn't do again voluntarily. So sometimes, as you said, we're not measured by how we deal with the good times. We're measured by how we face adversity and climb over the bad, right? That's where your grit is made. I know grit today is a bad word, but I'm from the 91331. And grit was a way of life, and that's just the way it is, and I got no problem with it. So that's how that goes. So that's my check-in. You ready to get into this, man? We got a little interesting show tonight based upon some of the comments that you and I have received as part of this 6-part series. So you ready to get into this? You got anything else you got?
You got a special guest for us tonight?
Yeah, man, we got a special guest tonight. So before I bring him on, let me just say that, from more than 6-7 folks that have hit me up, and I keep saying it, I really wish they would just put it in the comments. It's so much easier to put it in the comments than to dial my number and hit me up or yours. but they were like, who is this Brotha Demani and where'd you get him from? Right. And, I got so much love for Demani for, similar reasons with you. But like with you, we've talked about when I meet people that are part of your military family and part of your work family and your education family, I marvel at the esteem they praise you with because I grew up with you and I see these things, but you just Caleb, right? And not to downplay you, but I just see you
Right.
and I see your greatness. But it's beautiful to see their look of you through their eyes. And Demani is much the same. He's just a bro I came across, along the way, introduced him to you. We came across along the way, and he's just been a very pivotal force in our lives throughout the years. But I hear what people say about him. I'm just like, that's just Demani. I mean, you want to hear some other stories, and so
Don't share those stories.
So tonight, we brought Demani back just
Yeah.
to talk about him. So without further ado, Brotha Demani, you out there? Can you hear me, man?
I hear you loud and clear, Dave. One love, man.
One love,
One
man.
love,
What's
Caleb.
going on, Demani?
Man, I am honored to be alive in this time. I am definitely feel the love from my brethren I've known my whole adult life. Much love for you guys and your success, man. And without any doubt, I got your back.
No doubt.
And this
Yeah, we
don't
know
stop
that.
till the casket drop. You heard me?
Dave and I, we've talked about our 100th episode and who's going to be on it. And we have some people kind of earmarked for that 100th episode. We're quickly approaching that, but you are already on that list because of what you did in the past couple weeks. But just now, because of the love that everyone else, that people want to see you, people want to hear from you. So let's hear from you, brother.
All right. Well, and again, you touched on Malcolm X's birthday. I'm a revolutionary myself. So for me, the lessons I learned from Malcolm X outside of doing for yourself is the integrity of standing for something, even in the face of death. We have access to the internet and YouTube. There's YouTube videos of the actual FBI phone tap where they was baiting him to snitch on another person that he disagreed with in the movement, but he was like, "Oh, I can't answer that. I'm cool." And the world at the time had no knowledge of that. Now we know. We like, "Oh, we heard the beat." And it's like, dude, do leaders have that integrity today?
No.
Oh, they'd be on the phone. Oh yeah, Caleb ain't this. It'd be some rap beef. People be shooting at each other because they playing each side. But he had integrity. That was something that was passed on to me. In terms of education, I didn't pursue to get a PhD per se, but I studied hard in many different facets of knowledge, if you will. And Malcolm X, without formal education, went to prison, found Allah, got into the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, and became still to date the most prophetic speaker we've had in our time. And nobody can debate him. Nobody from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, anywhere else. Even if Michael Eric Dyson is still trying to make up words to get on Malcolm's level. You know what I mean? So it's a mind frame that we come from a strong culture of people, and we can pursue that. We have to understand that we are pushing to be the best of Black people, not the worst. And I mentioned that on the podcast. Again, to your audience, much love. I'm trying to do my part to pay it forward.
Yes.
I went through some bumps in the road. I had people in my life that said, Demani, if you keep going this way, this is going to happen to you. And I was at a point in my life where I didn't care. So be it. I've had people in my life that said, yeah, you need to come this way and do this bad stuff. And I was like, oh. I watched them get 25 with an L. I watched them, still in the penitentiary. We know from the hood, just got out 2017. I was like, man, dude, you've been in jail since 87. Like a couple more years, we wouldn't even have a cash society when you got out of prison. So I've been blessed to miss certain things. I've been blessed to I don't begrudge my upbringing, because I tell people I was born in the right time, in the right place, to the right people, and went through all the right experiences to be the man I am today. Make no bones about that. And in that, I am firmly planted in the man that I am. And I don't have to say anything. I'm not no tough guy. I'm no big guy. But many people have vouched that I ain't never scared.
Right.
It's on.
and from the way that you wear your hat from across the room, they know they're dealing with the real one. They know they're dealing with a real one.
Yeah. Oakland, California, from the 415-510, guaranteed to pull you without a tug of war. You heard?
So let me take you back a little bit, and really, because Demani, we could let you just run and from the euphemisms to the patterns of speech to the knowledge, to just really let people dig in. But I want to see different facets of you. So and Caleb and I will incorporate this. So when I left the 818 to head up to what was then the 415, going to college, I felt like I was leaving family, right? But that wasn't like my mom and family that I was related to by blood. That was Caleb, right? I mean, we had been running them streets tight. And so, and I left for college the day after graduation, right? The day after high school graduation, I left. And so that was it. Me and Caleb said our goodbyes or whatever. And that was hurtful for me because I was leaving family. I got to Berkeley and was like, man, what am I going to do? Who am I going to meet? And I met, 7L, 7 Floor Locos and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not throwing on gang signs. We made a 7, we made an L. And, our bros on the floor, Lance, Omar, all them cats. And so, and they became a family unit. And so, I don't know, maybe like a week later, you came banging on the door, Dave, what you doing today? Like, man, it's Saturday. I got to iron my clothes. Remember that? I used to always iron my clothes. And it's like, no, we got to go make a run. Come on. All right. And so go out to the front of the dorms. Had a 72 Chevelle. No, it wasn't even Chevelle. Corvair or something like that. Money Green Doolittle is what we called it. And we all hopped in. And I just knew the college campus. And we made a turn. And then the environment started to change a little bit. And I'm like, where we going? Oh, man, we going into Oakland. And he introduced me to his people. So we not only I had this new family I was trying to create, but he brought me into his home. I met his mom. I met his baby sister. Right. I met his grandma. All of a sudden, Sunday nights became home-cooked meals and things like that. And it reintroduced family. That was my introduction to you. And we were 17, 18 at the time, and so forth and so on. And Oakland was a bustling place. We was doing a sideshow, and I'm still trying to rep the 818. I'm still trying to, man, y'all don't know nothing. We got Crenshaw on Sunday nights. We got this, we got that. Man, Dave, you crazy, da-da-da. And you started to show me a whole new life of what that was. So let's talk about that. Now, last time you mentioned that at Oakland Tech High School, Killer How I Come to Die, as you always coined it.
That's right.
You were 16, somebody died in your arms, and you said, at this moment, I need to do something different. And I truly believe, as you said, and Caleb, you and I have talked about this a lot, that I can't apologize for anything for myself in my life. I can apologize to people for people I've done wrong, because I've definitely had to do that. And as I come across people, I will have to continue to do it for past mistakes. But everything I've done has brought me to this point. So that individual dying in your arms brought you into my life. Does that make sense? Right? And thus brought you into Caleb's life with that introduction. So let's talk about that where you were going and how that switch opened up the doors for, you applied, got into Berkeley, started your educational process there. Let's talk about that.
Well, I'll go to that very moment. Prior to that, representing the hood, my mom moved us from, I was supposed to go to Claremont Middle School. But she was like, no, you're going to be with everybody else. Y'all going to be out there fighting, banging, representing this part. No, you going to this other school. Sent us in the Bertha Esau Carter, which was out of the frying pan into the fire, so to speak, because it had everybody else from all the other North Oakland, West Oakland gangs at the time. When I got to Oakland Tech in the 9th grade, we knew everybody, and everybody knew me. So going up there, I had some pivotal moments like, I don't know if I want to be an athlete, but I'm still down. I like, school is cool, but I did my homework. I was smart. My mama stayed on me. You ain't gonna be out here. You just can't read and then, that type of stuff. She's like, no, you gonna stay on that. The incident was in 1986. A friend of mine, Andre Gray, died in my hands in the hallway. A friend, a person I grew up with, known my whole life. He's in my Facebook circle right now. So, I don't love him. He killed him over some, what we say with adolescents today, conflict resolution. And back in our day, you fight your battles, don't never run. You win some, you lose some, and respect was from the shoulder. These two kept having this fight over and over and over again, and to the point it got boring to us. Like, oh man, they at it again. But this one day, my one friend, he that day. If I get beat up today, I'm gonna take it to the next level. And he did. The friend who died, my last vision of him was me lying to him that he wasn't gonna die. Like, man, just keep breathing. Ambulance gonna be here, man. You took them bullets like a champ. You good. He's like, nah. He just don't die like this. And I'm like, wait a minute. If he dying, if that was me, I'd have been, man, tell my mama I love her. Tell my sister, shout out, she grow up. He thought about me in that moment. So that next day I had to sit down. What is my life about? Am I really taking my little life at 16 years old, 15 years old seriously? Am I taking my high school education seriously? Again, this wasn't Columbine, wasn't on TV. This was another day at Oakland Public Schools. The office was open. They had a little counseling session if you needed it. The other office door was open so you could withdraw your child because someone killed, I'm taking my child out of tech today. Some people like, I ain't sending my kid to these other schools. You're just going to have to deal with it. Those were the state. That's what we did. In that, it was my science teacher named Helen Keys. She pulled me in she had a science lab that had these two doors in between it. So like you could close the two doors off before you actually went into the closing. She put me in that door and closed the door. And she asked me, she said, Demani, you are one of my brightest students. You're smart. You're a natural leader. People follow you, but when you get out in this hallway, you doing this stuff and everybody want to be behind you and fighting this stuff. Son, I just got to ask you, do you want to live or die? And no one had never asked me that question at that point. I looked at her. I said, Miss Key, I want to live. And her response was, if that's what it is you want to do, then you need to start finding out things that people who also want to live do. And I said, yeah. You know what? I'm stop hanging on these street corners. I'm stop rolling with these cats that want to fight. I'm going to go to the library. And because I already had street cred, as the young people say, I already had street cred. Man, where you going, D? I'm going to the library. Well, nobody gonna test me. Oh, okay. Oh, I tried out football. I'm gonna get on a wrestling team because wrestling was the closest thing for me fighting and not getting in trouble. I got my little letters. I said, okay, let me represent this sweatsuit or something. They're like, damn, D, you a jock now? Yeah, what's it to you? Nothing, D. Okay. And I stayed on that path. I took high school seriously for 2 years. When I got into UC Berkeley. And at my graduation, they announced it. They were like, oh man, that boy ain't going to Berkeley. They just said that so his family felt good on the program. But then when I came back, because remember, summer bridge for us was 9 days after we graduated. They like, man, these came back on his cow, man. He got back here for real. They're calling cats from the hood to come to my door. Like, hey, y'all can't be carrying guns and stuff. And you're going to get me kicked out too, which almost happened anyway, thanks to Caleb.
Hey, man. Hey, that wasn't my intent. But, sometimes in life, you are put in situations that you can't walk away from. In your story, you were sharing your like a pivotal moment. Right. And we all have those pivotal moments that will send us in a different direction. I'm sometimes still kind of look back at people that are still on the block, still in the neighborhood. And I'm like, man, did you not see your pivotal moment? Like that was the sign for you to change your direction. I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
You mentioned your homeboy taking those bullets like a champ. I see David is I don't know if you how well you can see it. I see David is rocking the Boys in the Hood shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We have Boys in the Hood. The name that comes to mind is Danny Romos, who was one of those boys in the hood. Veto now is one of those boys in the hood that I grew up with. Tell me about the boys in your hood.
Well, boys in the hood in my hood, again, growing up in the 80s, similar but different than the Southern California get down. I'm from the Bushrod area in North Oakland specifically. Again, the Black Panthers Party was founded in my neighborhood. Merritt College, where the Black Panther Party started out, young college students going to the community college that was in the hood, was in North Oakland. My mother graduating from Galileo High School in San Francisco. Again, my mother was native San Franciscan, grew up on that side, and when her brother, my Uncle Tim, behind her, came out in '66. They started allowing blacks to have jobs in the refineries and the camps on the Oakland side. And once black people started making middle class wages, they start coming out of San Francisco or going on to the Oakland so their kids can have backyards and whatnot. Knowing the history of that neighborhood, growing up as a kid, there's always normal development. There's always an aggressive kid. There's always a wimpy kid. There's always a kid that's good at sports. There's always a nerd kid that's really smart, but timid around people. And you learn to respect other people. But then when you start getting this gang backdrop, it wasn't colors or anything like that. It was you from this neighborhood. We obligated to take care of you. So when I just walk by, hey, that's Caleb's little brother. I see some bully messing with you. We just roll up and, man, what's up? You got a problem with Caleb? He with y'all? Yeah, what's up? And then the bully leave you alone. Then, we, okay, Caleb, you cool, man. You need anything, we'll see you tomorrow. And eventually, as you got older, you felt obligated because it started being young kids behind you. So then you start repping it for real. And then again, we know in the 80s and the crack, it brought money and all this other stuff, and it escalated into a whole nother thing. That concept, the friends I had, Edwin Hill, they're my best friend in 1975. We started kindergarten day one. And that's my A1 from day one. And it don't stop till the casket drop. And I tell anybody, if we don't die, we don't die, we go to hell and regroup. You know what I'm talking about? You mess with him, I'm coming still. It's gonna be a problem. So that mold in us leading into college and like, okay, we got to grow up and I want you to live, because if you get caught up in something, I'm gonna drop all of this and I'm coming back to avenge for you. So in order to keep me straight, you got to be straight. And of course, they would know, they followed like, oh yeah, we hung out in dorms, went to Clark Kerr, went to frat parties, and I got into my first incident over my tattoo. A tattoo I wear on my arm. Omega Psi Phi, Epsilon Mu chapter. Ran up on me at a phone booth. Back then we didn't have cell phones. They ran up on me. I'm out there with a tank top on. My wife here thinking I'm a man. I'm like, okay, the Q dogs out there stomping the yard. The Kappas out there like, okay, yeah, that's cool. All of a sudden they started looking at me crazy. And again, I know banging. I'm like, is they banging? No, school dudes. It ain't like that. Next, you know, a couple of them kept coming. They started looking. And next you know, they was like, oh yeah, what's up? Oh, you think you one of us? You know what they talking about? Then they questioned my thing. I said, oh, you think as you a Q dog, you got the trademark on all dogs. I'm gonna bring my dogs up here. We're gonna see what your chapter talking about. Went to the phone booth right there in Sproul Plaza, because we didn't have cell phones back then.
Right.
You know, hit a few beeper numbers, and yeah, they came. And boys came back, and also they was like, oh, he one of them real ones. Oh yeah, asshole. Like, you don't know nothing about me. We ain't banging. Or are we? I'm a little confused. And many of events that went like that later on in life, I pledged a fraternity. It's branded on my arm as well. I'm a distinguished gentleman of Kappa Alpha Psi, Nu Sigma, the no sympathy chapter with no haters, no skaters, and no perpetrators. Don't start now, won't be none. You heard? I love it. But my eyes was opened. I started going traveling. I went to Bayou Classic. I went to Howard Homecomings and Morehouse Homecomings and spring breaks in Daytona, Florida. And one people jumped out and like, man, what's up, Lou? What's up, Fred? And it had love for me. They didn't know me from Adam. Right. They wasn't throwing it up. Yeah, man, what's up, man? Well, who you with? It wasn't like that.
Right.
This is real. Then I start seeing a different picture.
Right.
And what I'm supposed to be doing. And then the stuff my mother put in my ear start coming back to me. Like, yeah.
You know, some of my greatest lessons didn't come from. It came from more observations and how I was treated and how I felt around other people. And I didn't really gain that. The military really gave me that. I was able to travel and I was like, man, people are living like this. People think like this. This is how they get down over here. Right. And just observing how things were outside of my block. I realized how blessed I was, because there were people on my block that never traveled. I have friends right now today that don't travel outside, that have damn near 50 years old, that have never traveled outside of California, Nevada, Arizona, right? Yeah. And that's all that they know. Yeah. And so their vision and their scope is limited to what they're familiar with. So yeah, man, I when you say that you was at Morehouse and Howard and you were seeing love all over the country, it kind of reminded me of like that DJ Quick song when he was saying that, you know, they were banging in St. Louis, right?
Right. Everybody want to be like Compton.
Right.
Yeah.
So at some point you left your family, man. You and Weezy got up on out of there. Right. Your wife's name, not Weezy, but you and Weezy got on out of there, for those of you who understand the Jeffersons. And now, you know, you a humble cat in the Midwest shoveling snow, And you know, and again, you have a son. You have a son from a previous relationship. Now you have a daughter, and so forth. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I was one of those brothers. You know, it was a golden era. If you got your degree between 87 and 94, he was a black man with a college degree. Didn't matter what it was, you could get on anywhere. And that was the golden era, and that window closed up quick after that point. Because again, black men start getting more degrees in education and start moving up the ranks. Following the trends of people I knew. Oh yeah, I work a job for a year or two, then I parlayed those skills into this next job, and they were, you know, resume hopping and jumping into different things and moving up. You catch up to them 5-6 years. Oh man, they doing pretty good. I needed to do that. For me, I didn't finish my degree at Berkeley, and Dave know I was a young man and knocked up a freshman, had a baby. And my dog, David Smith, was in the delivery room when my son came in the world, the day I became a man. Real talk.
That's what's up.
And I can't thank Dave enough, because I didn't know what to do. I was like, whoa, my mama even was like, you on your own. you grown enough to live and have babies. You know what time it is. She told me the same thing I tell young people today. The minute that baby come out and is living and breathing, it's no longer about you. And I went through transformation. I went through the failed relationship, you know, tried to work it out. Never got married to my son's mother. That turned into a child support situation. And then, you know, the magic wand got waved and the system did its thing. So being in that climate where I zigged instead of zagged, trying to jump to these other jobs, I never had enough income, because again, child support was taking half of it, to support the higher cost of living in California, and at least be comparable, or at least in the direction where my friends is going, that you know, did it the right way, so to speak. And I didn't get down on myself, but I found someone that believed in me, and I got myself together. I went back to college, went to Cal State Hayward. That's where I pledged at and did all that stuff. And I moved to Sacramento. And I was working for the company Comcast at the time. And it was one of those things, okay, my 2 years up, I learned this skill, I'm not gonna go jump on this other thing. I didn't know that the housing market would go up. That's when we started having the crisis in 2008, 2007. Relationship didn't work, and that black man ain't got no money. Man, dude, you ain't gonna be laying up in my house. You gotta go. You know, got caught up in that kind of situation, and I ended up sleeping on my mama's couch, looking up at the ceiling like, man, all the things I did, all the people I know, I couldn't get a job pushing a broom. And I know I got this weight over my head, Solano County waiting on me. They suspend my driver's license every 6 months. They was waiting on me. Oh, you in the rears? I'll go. You know, my mama said, just go in there and tell them what your situation is. I'm like, no, mama, I ain't doing that. I can talk to her directly. Why would? Oh, I got to talk to them. I went down Solano County. They said, Mr. Williams, you want to come on the other side of this yellow line? I was like, no, I can hear you from there. You can tell me what's going on. I went on the other side of that yellow line and ended up in a jumpsuit and flip-flops. You know what I'm talking about? On some stuff, on some child support beat. Again, another pivotal moment. I'm sitting on my mama's couch looking at the ceiling like, dude, I can't believe all of this didn't went that far. My girl said, Demani, I think we need to do something else. Because you can't come back here, but I think there's a place we can bounce back together. But I believe in you. I done dated a couple of cats, and no, it's you. And I said, really? So I said, okay, what are you talking about? She said, Wisconsin. My mother's computer had an AOL sign on. I went on AOL, and then it had, at the time, it was a news little flag, little runner on the site that said places that were least affected by the recession at the time. The Fox Valleys is the area in Wisconsin was least affected by the, and it was the only place in the whole U.S. that was in the recovery phase. I said, well, let me try it. Again, I'm from Oakland, California. I'm from the hardest where it all started. I ain't scared of nobody. I ain't scared of nothing. I can do it. Listen, right now, I ain't doing nothing. So I went for it. My sister happened to come over the house visiting from Atlanta. She gave me $1,000. They get you a spot, get you a rental car, go on your interviews, go if you put the money on the table. The company put the money on the table. I took it. I came back, grabbed the stuff on my back, and said, "Mama, I'm going to start life from scratch, going to Wisconsin." And I've been here ever since. And it took me about 4 years or so to get out of my child support. I paid all my arrears. My son turned 18. They was like, "Oh, Miss Williams, you good?" They sent me a $200 check. I almost cried. But I lived in a lower cost of living where I could live off of what was left over. And I hustled. Because again, when you came from a big city and you come out here, it's like watching paint dry. So I was hustling. I had a job here. I was working with the gas company and a cable company at the same time. They was like, "Man, this brother do everything." I said, "No, I got free time. I can make some more money." I got married. All the relationships. I was in Dave's wedding. I was in Edwin's. I was in everybody's wedding. And in my mind, I wanted to do that same thing. All my homies. But I got to a point in my life that said it's more important to the commitment to this woman than the pageantry for everybody else.
Right.
And am I being real with myself? This who I really want to be with? Because I could have had them all.
Right.
And I said, "Nah, she the one. I don't care if we got married in a park of just her, me, her, and a preacher. My commitment to you is more important." Got married here. A year and a half later, I had my daughter. I didn't think I was gonna have any more kids. I was like, "Man, that time came and went." And all of a sudden, I'm pregnant. Oh, man, that's what I'm talking about. I had my little girl, changed my life. And I've been out here ever since. Moving up the ladder. I became a investor. I do a little real estate investing on the side. I do a little wholesaling. I'm still learning the trade. I all my cars are paid for. We bought a house. My wife was an at-home mom for 4.5 years, all on me. I was a man for real. I was like, "Oh man, okay, yeah." We was living. I was like, "Man, really?" Then I had to refocus because again, I got elderly parents, so I got to go back to California. I was seeing all stuff going on in California, and there was a difference there as opposed to here. As we talk on the show politically, I live in a Second Amendment state. And Dave, is it okay if I say this on camera? I've owned all my firearms legally in California. When I was old enough to buy them, I bought all of them legally. But I've carried them illegally my whole life.
Right.
I'll just say that. But here, I can carry it legally. I can conceal it because it's a concealed or open carry state. But again, you got to have a concealed weapons license to do it. But it's a whole different ball game.
D, I want to just acknowledge the fact that, early on we were talking about pivotal moments that was like negative pivotal moments, but you just rolled out some positive pivotal moments. As you were talking, I was jotting down another negative pivotal moment that I wanted to share when I was dead broke and had no money in my account. But there's been some positive pivotal moments as well. But everyone don't get a chance to see that. And so there's still some cats on the block, still there, that would say, "I missed my opportunity. I'm too old. I'm kind of stuck here." What would you say to that group of individuals?
Well, I would say, at first it depends on are they parents or not.
Let's consider let's consider them our age, right? Let's consider
them
our age, and they probably got some seeds out there somewhere.
Okay. Well, if they're our age, what I would tell them in this time and age, if you have any deficiencies about yourself, you can't read good, you can't write, you can't count. We in the era of Google and YouTube, you can learn almost anything. I've been teaching myself AWS, all on YouTube. Because I'm not going back to school to spend all this money to take out student loans again. It took me 15 years to get out of that. But I might need that skill to survive, depending on, and again, COVID-19 came around, everybody at home. I got all kind of little hustles going on YouTube. So you have to decide if you want to do better. Anybody from our era, we went up against some real adversities. People getting shot, people came to shoot at me by name. Right. When no stranger jumped out of the bucket, they was looking for the money. So with that, you shouldn't be afraid of nothing going on today. Ain't nobody stopping you from educating yourself. You don't have to go to some formal university. Now it's college universities that's online.
Right. And I'll even admit some of my biases. You know, when I think of that group, I have some biases. I'll just say, man, they stuck because they smoking weed all the time, or they're stuck because, you know, they haven't traveled, they haven't seen any other options. But they have people like you, they have people like Dave. I'll include myself in that group. They have some people that have made it out, and that they could reference, and they could say, maybe I can do different. Maybe I can do better. And so I recognize my own biases when I see people stuck. But I, like you said, if you want to do better, there are opportunities for you to do better. And in today's age, it might just be everyone has a cell phone. Almost everybody has a smartphone now. If you're still working with a flip, then give me a call. I got myself in trouble before, Dave, when I made some promises. But I'm not going to tell you I'm going to get you a smartphone. But if you're still working with a flip, give me a call, man. I'm gonna have to set you straight. And then we're going to show you the Google, and then YouTube, and then you could start bettering yourself from day one.
Yeah. I parallel, like we talked about Malcolm X. You have to have a principle about yourself. Right. And this is an old person, a middle-aged person, or a young person. You may not know what you want to do in life, but you got to have a principle about yourself to say, I'm not going to do that. I made that choice a long time. I'm not going to do drugs. I spend too much time and money trying to educate myself. I'm not going to destroy my brain in my free time.
You said Malcolm X. You said Malcolm X, most prolific speech right now, orator of all times.
Of all times. Right.
Criminal, but he had his criminal what's your excuse over there across the street from me, right? What's your excuse? Of all times. If Malcolm did it, if other people are doing it, Johnson across the street, you could do it as well.
I take it a step further. Malcolm did it after being incarcerated and locked behind bars. You don't have to go to that extreme to get that same knowledge, to work on yourself every day, to have discipline, to find something it is you want to do. And having a principle in yourself saying that I'm not going to give up on myself. I mean something to the struggle. That's the part my mother's voice will be with me the rest of my life. That I didn't come here by having you mean something to the struggle. And I haven't earned the right to throw my life away. I told my children that. You haven't earned the right to throw your life away. That's the drugs, gang violence, suicide, homosexuality. Not that I'm against gay people, but in a Black perspective, you not reproducing other Africans, we lose it. They convince you not to reproduce, we lose it. Because we come in this world not only with the hopes of what our life is going to be, you already bringing the future with you. The people you going to give birth to. In our household, we celebrate Kwanzaa. And there's a Kwanzaa principle with the ear of corn. Every child is supposed to have an ear of corn at the table during Kwanzaa. At the end of the celebration, you peel the husk off the corn, and The kernels on the corn symbolizes the future Black people that are to come through those children. And when you examine that in reverse, you like, and my mother did the genealogy on our family. If any one person in my family line had made a different decision, I wouldn't be here. Y'all wouldn't know me. So I take that responsibility seriously. And I was young, wild and crazy. I didn't at one point. But when I locked into that principle, yeah, now my steps, they mean something. They're calculated. And I know because of the world we live in, I may have to give up my life. I know from the history, my uncle was in the BGF and he was in Clinton, Soledad, he was in all them places. But he'd tell you, he said, I lived in a time where that meant something. Your generation is where the rift came. And you study the history of Christian Bloods as the gangs came into the prison population, the Black Panther generation that started the BGF and the old guards, they turned their back on our generation because they was in there going to prison for the movement. They was knocking off the enemy. And then they got these brothers coming here, Swole, Tookie Williams, all these big cats coming in like, oh yeah, them young bulls is getting it in. They come with you in for. Oh man, I shot that fool, Caleb. People from such and such block. What? You shot another black guy? In here for, David. You robbed another black guy? Yeah. You didn't knock off no white boys? I killed 3 brothers. What? They turned their backs on us. And our generation, we returned the favor. We turned their back because we resented our fathers. Most of them left us. My father came home from Vietnam, strung out on heroin. He was a good dude for a little bit. And then he's had one of his relapses. Mom's like, I ain't putting up with that. Do your thing. So when we grew up in the crack era, our generation, those who got in the drug gang, those were our first clients. But heroin addicts from my mother's generation. And they would take anything to get off of that swing that heroin had them on. They was the first crackheads. And then when we went to prison for doing that same thing, them older cats was now they didn't went cold turkey. They was swole running the prison yards. What's up, Dave? You gotta come check in. You'd be like, hey, don't make me a slap because he's gonna come back to me with pennies. Oh, I'm supposed to answer to him. Oh, I ain't doing that. Our generation broke away from them like, man, get out here. I don't respect you on street. I expect you in here. That was us. Transpose that on the street is the same thing. These brothers are putting in work across the board. You can go on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, right? Oh man, they walking cats down on the freeway. Man, I'm like, man, these little gangsters that. But they ain't clapped on their white boy. They ain't winning no Proud Boys. They ain't hit no Ku Klux Klan. Nobody. They resume deep with how many black killed. We did that.
Right.
D, this is. I wish we had time for a lot of this conversation over the last 6, because what you talked about, you touched on it a little bit, Caleb, that, we made it out. We saw opportunities. A lot of the ones that don't is because their vision is locked into this environment that you just described, D, right? But you saw something different. You saw that checkpoint, and whether it was because of your relationship with your mama, you had a woman that believed in you. We all know a good woman can just, a good woman can save your life. A bad one can leave you broke with bad credit and a bankruptcy, right? So, people can lead you in different directions. But looking at where you are now, right? And so we're getting to the end of this. We started off talking about Malcolm X. Caleb, you mentioned he was a criminal. He was a drug dealer. He was a thief. He was a junkie. He was illiterate.
He was
He got to prison.
illiterate.
He started off by reading a dictionary, word for word, right? Educating himself on the power and ability of words. In his autobiography, he said, "A man curses because he doesn't have the words to express himself." right? And so I listen to your words. I look at where you are. You know, I have to believe that part of the reason I got so many phone calls about you. A couple people asking for your number too. Told him, you know, he's married, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Leave him alone, right? We done
My
that.
wife from South Central, homie.
Right? But I have to believe that they're looking for something to get some knowledge for themselves or something to share with someone else, right? And so I know you, right? We go back. Caleb knows you. We go back. You know, we're honored to have you on this time, but we just want to give you this moment to say, for you to look somebody in the eye. And what's that advice you would give them about where to start, right? My mama told me the difference between trying and doing is making up your mind to take a step.
Yep.
Right? And so a lot of people like that, I'm trying. You don't hear a whole lot of people say, I've done it or I'm going to do, right? And you've done it now, right? And again, not arrived. None of us have arrived, but we're on a different path to make a better way for a better tomorrow, for a better generation, right? So what advice could you give to someone to stop trying and start doing to get a taste of the knowledge that you have?
A principle I learned through my fraternity, the 6 P's. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. And that's, if you are preparing to be something, there's things that you got to do to get prepared for that. You trying to go to college, you gotta handle your business in school. You gotta take this SAT, AT, and try to score as high as you can, have these grades and extracurricular activities and be able to write and read and all that. You trying to get a job, you need to have these skills to be prepared prior to you just showing up on the door, fill out an application. If that's your thing, if you're trying to be an actor, there's a writer's guild, an acting guild, there's something that you got to perfect your craft before you get to that point. Something I would give young people, especially Black people, you mean something to the struggle. Whether someone tells you that or not, you do. And you are here because somebody somewhere loved you at some point. Life has a way of putting you in a position where the pieces fit together. I had this completely broken life over here, and then someone that had a halfway broken life, we came together, and all of a sudden it was straight. You might be the bridge to somebody else. Someone else may be the bridge to you, but you mean something to the struggle. If you take yourself out altogether, it was for nothing. We have, as a people, got to believe in that. And again, as a principle, if you go back in history and read any of our, I went through 2 years of Black history courses that I just dove into. It was like, okay, I need to learn about this. And then you start getting a history of, it was Black people already here in 1492. I was like, what are they talking about? Black people, I've heard that. And he's like, whoa. You start getting into, it's like, wait a minute, dude. If we was already here before, then we've seen everything. And that means we got to answer to it. That's when you become dangerous. As long as you don't have a solution, they can manipulate you accordingly. You got a solution, like, oh no, we've been here, done that. Let's do this. Now you got something. We got to do research on our own family. Like I said, my mother did a genealogy on my family. We got some horror stories in my grandfather on back. There's some horror stories like, dude, we never had that type of adversity in Oakland. And again, they compared Oakland to Beirut back then. I'm like, dude, I don't have no excuses. Once that gets lifted off of you, okay, what do I want to do? I'm pushing to be this. My hardest push was to be a good dad. Because my father didn't raise me, but that didn't give me an excuse not to be a father to my children. Not at all. I had no how-to book. I worked on being a dad. I made some mistakes. I'm not perfect, but every day when I look my daughter in her eye and I talk to my son on the phone, You know, my daddy's a writer, and my daddy loved me. I at least have a relationship. I can talk to my son. My son can identify my voice over the phone. He can point me out in a picture. I can't do that for my dad. My dad can walk in this room right now. I wouldn't know who dude was. But that didn't give me an excuse not to be a father to mine. And I instill that same thing my mother instilled in us. You mean something to the struggle. I love you. And I'm going to be hard on you in some cases, but you mean something to the struggle. You ain't earned the right to throw your life away.
You know, you are an example of the struggle and how someone could do it differently. As Dave said, you know, I don't know if we reached our goal or our apex yet, but we are certainly on our way to doing it different than what it could have been. So I think all of us have taken adversity in our lives and we built on it. We didn't allow it to define us.
Thank you for giving me my roses while I'm still here. And hopefully I'm giving you yours, definitely, because again, you guys are a pivotal moment in my life as well. And again, Caleb, you started the original rap beef, so I'm giving you all that credit.
Oh man, that's before. I think you're forgetting a couple of hip hop legends, but you know, I'll take it. Man.
No, man, it was you. But for real, it's about principle. You have to find that grounds you, and death comes with that. They say when they come to your funeral, they're gonna open up your obituary. It's gonna have a born date and it's gonna have a deceased date. It's the dash in the middle. That's what's significant. I'm just trying to make my line as popping as I can get it. You know what I'm saying? So when that day comes, you know, them pews gonna be full and everybody gonna have them passing out Hennessy at the door. They like, that's how Demani wanted it. We take this shot. But it's gonna be people from all different walks of life. I got friends that work on Wall Street, and I got friends that's behind the walls that wish they was on the street. You heard?
There it is. There
and I don't love them any different.
So, Demani, we appreciate you, brother. We thank you for sharing your life and your love with us, man. And as you say, to the wheels fall off and the casket drop, I just say to the duct tape don't stick, because I'll keep reusing it over and over and over again. And when you pull duct tape, it leave a residue. So anyway, y'all been kicking it with the brothers from the 818. My name is Dave, as you know, kicking on man Caleb. As always, we were blessed with the presence of my main man Demani, sharing just pearls of wisdom from the streets of the Bay Area to the backwoods of Wisconsin, wherever he is. We love to have this opportunity with him. We thank you for hanging out with us tonight. You catching us on YouTube. You're probably right there right now, or on Facebook. We're streaming on all the channels: Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible. You can catch us on our website, brothersfromthe818.com, or wherever you catch your streaming media. Caleb mentioned it earlier. You know, we shooting for 10 years, and that puts me, you know, in my 60s. I'm gonna shoot for 20. You know, we're just gonna do this until we decide that we're not gonna do it anymore. As long as you guys keep coming back, we'll be right here. So we appreciate you. We got mad love for you. Thanks for hanging out with the brothers from the 818. Peace out.
Okay.
Peace.
You are down with
The brothers from the